Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We're pleased to be joined as we continue our KLAA boys and girls basketball coaches kind of previews a little bit. We'd like to welcome on the girls basketball coach at Livonia Franklin. That, of course, would be Mr. John Santi. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Doing well. Thanks for coming on. So coming into this season, I know you're really excited for the year. Just kind of talk about what are we going to expect from the Patriots this year?
Great question. I think we're still trying to figure out a little bit about what we are. We graduated, four starters. 3 are playing on the next level. So that's a lot to replace. But we've got some. I think we're going to be different than we were last year as far as what we do. We've got some some nice kids coming back, and we got some young kids. So we're gonna be young, that's for sure. And but I've been pleased with. Can't say enough about how hard they've worked and the job they do. They do what they ask. They work hard. They do what you ask them to do or tell them to do. They do a great job in the classroom. So I think obviously we got a lot, some big shoes to fill, and we're gonna have some growing pains. I think there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, you just mentioned that you lost a lot from last year's team, but you have some kids coming back as well. Kind of talk about who's going to return and some names to watch out for.
I would say, there's a few. Leah Kuhn is probably she's a 3-year varsity player, soccer kid, cross country kid. 4 or 5 in the classroom. Probably our most versatile athlete as far as what she brings to the table. She'll be kind of a jack of all trades. We'll ask her to, handle the ball some. We'll ask her to help bring the ball up. We'll ask her to a lot of times guard the other team's best offensive player, regardless of wing, ball handler, post player. She's going to need to score more this year, but she's an unselfish kid. Sometimes overly unselfish. She will pass up a good shot to give it to a teammate. But so she's we expect a lot from her. After that, we've got senior Kristen Gibbons, played a lot last year, has worked on her game. I would like, I've got a junior Emerson Nordbeck, cross-country kid, long arms, probably a little better athlete than skilled right now. So those are probably the 3. Sophomore Gabby Sanchez, point guard, had a good summer, got a lot of minutes as a freshman. I'd say all of them, a lot of expected of all of them and more, but those 4 especially have a lot to. Last year they throw it to one of the seniors and bail them out. Now they're going to be expected to do some of those same things that were expected of the girls last year.
All right. So going into, you just mentioned some of the players that are coming back. Kind of like, what have you liked about your team so far? What do you notice about them, about this year's group compared to previous groups that you've had?
Very attitude-wise, very positive. They're getting there. They're there. They don't have any problems putting in the work. I think they're very aware of what they do well and what needs to be improved. I also think they take well to coaching. Like they're good about not. Leah's a 3-year player, and you don't have to correct Leah with a mistake. Kristen's kind of the same way as a second-year varsity player. A lot of times they're correcting themselves before I can even get the words out of my mouth. So that goes a long way when they're speaking the same language I am before I can even get it out. They've also done a great job. We've got 2 freshmen with us, and they're done a great job showing some patience with the freshmen who don't quite know what's expected or where they need to be, or they're 9th graders, right? They're gonna sink or swim a little bit.
Yeah. Let's kind of take a look. Looking at your side of the league so far, where are we at in terms of, obviously, watching the other side, watching the west side. Obviously, we know who's going to be good there, but talk about the east side of it a little bit. Where are we at? What are some teams? How do you think the league is going to look this year?
Top to bottom, I just think the league is just a challenging league. There, we always say there are just no nights off in the KLAA, and I think in the east side you got to start with it stops with Wayne. They are just so darn athletic, and they just kind of one goes off to play at a 4-year, Division I, and here comes another couple, and they just wear you out with what they do. You can hang with him for a little while, and then and then he goes to his bench, and you go to your bench, and he's bringing in other quality players, and you're bringing in kids that this is their second or third sport. So Wayne starts with Wayne. Belleville's going to be tough. The way they play, they've got some definite skilled players over there. I think I'd expect Stevenson to be improved. Dearborn's always. There's really everybody's going to be. Churchill will be improved with a bunch of young kids there. They got a lot of experience last year. They have some skill. Fortson's always going to play you hard, play tough. And that's the East. The West is, the West is just as challenging or more challenging.
Yes.
You talk to Ryan. Ryan's got a chance to be pretty good this year, I think, and he does a great job. Regardless of his talent level, but Lord, he's got Howell, Heartland, Brighton. That's 6 tough games right there. Northfield's going to be really good. The other 2 teams at the park are going to be solid. Nobody's always got some players. Like, there's no nights off. There's really no nights off.
Yeah, of course, he's referencing Ryan Ballard from Plymouth, who, of course, we had on the channel yesterday. So it's, but kind of talk about where you guys start the schedule. You mentioned Ryan Ballard in Plymouth. Actually, you're going to go there tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
We are going there tomorrow in a preseason scrimmage. We actually are not going to see him as far as during actual scrimmages. We may see him. Ryan's running an overtime thing after that, in the Plymouth and the Wildcats. But yeah, I'll have a little more. I'll have more information about us, I'd say, by Saturday. I'll know exactly where. In case you take a week away from what we've normally had for preseason practice, and then you start playing games. I got to imagine we're not the only ones that are like, all right, we're just not going to have everything in we need to have in, but enough to, see what actually enough in to see exactly what worked well and what needs to be improved.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of talk. You mentioned that, of course, there was a few changes with the league, with how all girls basketball teams and really. With the winter sports and what the MHSA kind of said, of course, kind of explain what the changes are for many people that may not know.
They basically allowed you to play more regular season games and decided to start the season a week earlier. So essentially, you can play up to 22 regular season games and with 1 less week of practice. So I was fine with the other way. The previous way was fine with me, but there are teams that wanted to play more games and have gone out and scheduled, and I think we're up to 21. I think we still have 1 available slot if we want. So it's fine. It is what it is. I didn't like losing the extra week of practice, but that's just my personal preference. I don't make the rules, so I got to go along with it.
Yeah, of course. I know with the scrimmage coming up yesterday, talk about some of the few games that you have to start off the year before we head into the holidays.
Our non-conference slate is gonna be a challenge. We open with Wall Lake Western; they'll be improved. Saw them in the summer. We go to Thurston. We are then going to Plymouth Christian. They were in the Division IV championship game last year. South Lyon, Trenton. So there's no everybody. I think everybody we play is good. Like, I think there's no. I think our schedule is pretty challenging once you even get into the conference, but I think our non-conference is challenging as well, especially with a younger team that's got some inexperience.
For sure. All right.
It's going to have to overcome.
Yeah. All right. Well, John Santi, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck to the Patriots this year.
All right, Casey, it was a pleasure, and hope to see you around. Thanks for having me.